So for the whole entire last month, I've been hearing this song everywhere.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
And it just reminded me that I was gonna have to see this movie eventually. And I really didn't want to see it! Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time once again for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. Hop! Get it? It works this time, because it's a movie about a rabbit! And before we get into the review, this episode is brought to you by Stardust. Stardust is a free app that you can download onto your phone, link is in the description down below, and it's the easiest way to post reactions to movies and TV shows and trailers on social media. Whenever I go see a new movie, I always post my immediate reaction on this app, so that's the best way to see my first thoughts on the film before I even review it. And it's not just new stuff, because there are literally thousands of things that you can react to on this app. And if you download the app, you can post your own reactions, watch other reactors, and if you tag me in one of your reactions, you might get a chance to appear in my next video. Stay tuned until the end of this episode to see if your reaction made it into the review. Now, let's talk about Peter Rabbit. It's another live-action/animation movie. Basically, it's a story about Peter Rabbit, played by James Corden, and he lives with his three sisters as well as his cousin Benjamin, and they're always trying to get vegetables from Mr. McGregor's garden. So far, okay. Mr. McGregor is like an old dude, and he's kind of mean, and he looks exactly like Mr. McGregor from the original book, but guess what happens? He dies. And I knew this was gonna happen because in the trailers, it's Domhnall Gleeson who's Mr. McGregor. But that's kind of weird to me too, because that would be like going into a Batman film and then like 10 minutes later it's like, oh, it's not about Batman, it's actually about Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl. It's like, why? Are old men just not funny? Cause, I'm sorry, but other movies have taught me that that's actually not true. And I was right, because the original Mr. McGregor dies of a heart attack. And I was a little shocked that they had this in the movie, but they like had him like keel over and die, and then like Peter Rabbit like actually like pokes his eyeballs and stuff, and they like linger on this for a good minute or so, and I was like, oh my god, is this appropriate for a kid's film? So then Mr. McGregor's nephew, who's like a Harrods manager or something, who's like really uptight, kind of inherits his cottage. He's not happy about it, but he gets fired from his job, so he ends up going and living in the cottage to get some perspective. And of course, Peter Rabbit comes in and tries to steal more vegetables, becomes a problem for Mr. McGregor, and that's a lot of the movie. And as you'd expect from this kind of movie, we got some butt jokes, we got animals wreaking havoc all over the place, we got a lot of physical humor, which I won't lie, it could be funny, it was okay. I mean, I don't know, it seemed a little particularly cruel at some moments, especially when they found out that he was allergic to blackberries and they just fed him blackberries. Like, yeah, that's a great lesson for the kids. If you really hate someone, give them something they're allergic to. That'll teach them. Torture's hilarious. Well, it can be, but it wasn't here. I feel, it's just like, things like that just felt a little mean-spirited, you know? Alright, before we go into too much negativity, I will talk about some things that are actually kind of good in this film. First of all, the animation is actually pretty good. We complain a lot about CGI characters in live action, but these actually do look like rabbits for the most part, and a lot of the other animals look like actual animals. Also, they don't refer too much to modern technology, although they do refer to kind of modern discussion. For example, there's this one part where Peter Rabbit is doing this random rant where he's like, hey, why is everyone on diets these days? It's really annoying. See, it's things like that that also really bother me about this film. Like this, a lot of the dialogue in this is like, I swear, it's like someone's stand-up routine. That's what Peter Rabbit's all about, random jokes. And again, like some of his sisters will say some things, and it's just like, it's filler. It's filler. Oh, and there's also a marijuana joke in there where they have Peter Rabbit like lying next to the fire, and he's like holding a carrot, very much like a joint, I might add, and he's like just like holding it, but then he like passes it to another rabbit, and she's like, nah, I'm good, I'm good. Plus, carrots are food. They're not like catnip, okay? It's not that funny. And then there's this like montage thing at the end where they're showing how they got from one place to another, but they go to like all these different extremes of different ways that they got there. Yeah, this movie had funny jokes. But here's my biggest problem with the film. It has the biggest identity crisis. It's trying to be Peter Rabbit. It's trying to have all this random humor. It is trying so hard to be a typical kids film, which I don't like. Going back to some good stuff, there actually is a few sequences in this film that are animated. And they're actually beautiful. They look just like the drawings from Beatrix Potter's books, and like those actually are filled with some sincere moments too. Like we find out about Peter Rabbit's parents and how his dad got killed. Yeah, that happens, but that also happened in the book. I was so happy when those parts came up. It was so just pleasant and nice, and I was just like, gosh, why couldn't the whole movie have been like this? And it's trying to be all meta and fourth wall breaky, but then like you also have cutesy, nice moments and just all these random little montages all over the place. Oh, and lots of pop songs, lots and lots and lots of pop songs, can't forget those. And maybe I'm a little bit of a purist, but we got Rose Byrne in this film who kind of plays the neighbor to the McGregor house, and she like looks after the bunnies, and she's like a painter, but she sucks at it. It's like all these random like splotchy paintings, and she wants it to be something, but it looks like nothing. But then she also does paintings that are like exactly like Beatrix Potter paintings. And like those are the ones she does in her spare time. In this movie, I was just watching it and I'm like, oh my god, no, I see what you did there. You named her B, like Beatrix Potter. Okay, but no, you are not Beatrix Potter, lady, no. And it's so weird because also like it makes no sense. These blotchy paintings don't look like they were even made by the same person who did these nice watercolor paintings that were done by Beatrix Potter. Now, a little to the credit of her and Domhnall Gleeson, they actually in this movie do have chemistry together, and they do seem like people who genuinely like each other. Like he's not trying to use her to just get to the rabbits. He's like actually like conflicted between her and the bothersome rabbits. All right, some credit there. I didn't really believe you guys, but like at least it's better than the 50 Shades movies. And another one of the many things that bothers me about this film is that we've got all these different characters that were from Beatrix Potter's books, but they're just kind of like there because they were in her books. Peter Rabbit decides at one point to throw a house party, and all we do is just have all these characters just partying. We don't really get to know them that well. They all have like that one joke to them, and that's it. Why couldn't we have seen a movie where Peter like goes on adventures and actually like meets these characters and has conflicts with these characters rather than just having like one joke to them? And it's interesting because I found out that actually a lot of people saw this and they actually kind of liked it. And you know, if it turns out you did like this film or your kids did, there are worse things that you could be watching. The gags can be funny, the animation's good, it'll definitely keep your kids' attention, and there are some clever moments, but you know, I try really hard to go into movies and just start with a blank slate no matter how much I'm expecting, but this film, it was so hard for me to go in there and not hate it from the beginning because I was just so bothered by the fact that Peter Rabbit was attached to all of this. Here's the thing, if you really want to make a movie about a rabbit who tortures this guy and just really wants to get the vegetables from him because he's entitled to and throws blackberries at him even though he's allergic, fine, okay. I'm not gonna stop you, but why on earth would you drag down a classic, beautiful, iconic character like Peter Rabbit into it? Because you know, maybe on some level this movie as a whole could work, but there's something very disheartening about seeing Peter Rabbit chugging lettuce leaves at his sisters like they're $1 bills, or also seeing that Fox character, Mr. Todd, just going around with his nice jacket but then taking it off and going, woo, streaking! I get that it's an adaptation and you need to make changes, but the source material just does not feel like it fits this kind of film. And I know that critics aren't like praising the hell out of this film, and I know that audiences aren't saying they absolutely loved it or anything, but I'm a little discouraged that people did like it as much as they did. Maybe I'm just a small minority, but I could not enjoy this film. I thought the jokes were really lame, I thought there was way too much filler, way too many pop songs, way too much of just not using your characters as you could have. And there were little homages to the original source material, but it just did not have enough confidence in the source material to make a film that actually felt very true to the spirit of Beatrix Potter. And I feel really horrible making the comparison, but I feel like this kind of film should have been more like Paddington. Something just kind of sweet, a little bit epic, and fun, and light, and colorful. Like, it should have been a little more like that. I know that Peter Rabbit is a troublemaker, but I don't want to see him as this like wisecracker who's doing stand-up. No! I want you to take those animated bits and make a full-on movie based around that. That would have at least been a lot more pleasant to look at. So for me, I had a terrible time watching this. I knew I was not gonna like it, I didn't like it, it didn't make me laugh. Well actually, there was one joke that did make me laugh, and it involves a rooster when the sun comes up and he's like, oh my god, the sun came up, it's amazing, oh my god. But then they ruin it by going with it a couple more times throughout the film and then just adding on to it in like really weird ways. Some people thought it was really funny, I didn't. So you can see the issues that I have with this film, and again, if you liked it, I promise I'm not gonna judge you, but this was just not my kind of film. When adaptations are done, I like it when they actually try to bring out the spirit of the source material to the big screen, and I just did not feel that here. I felt like I was watching a bunch of studio execs who were just like, no, this will never sell, so let's put in the humor, let's put in the wisecracking, let's put in those butt jokes, and we'll throw in these characters here because we think that a lot of the other people out there will probably like that. Who cares? And I feel bad because people saying they like this film is probably just gonna mean that more are gonna be made like it, and that makes me really sad, but at least it wasn't as bad as Smurfs. Yeah, remember the Smurfs films, which were like about the magical creatures that go to New York? Well, again, at least this one exists in a world where Peter Rabbit could exist, so again, kudos to that. If you liked it, great. Me? No. Just no. I'm sorry, Beatrix Potter. I am so sorry. So, those are my thoughts on Peter Rabbit the movie, so now here's this week's Stardust winner and their thoughts on the film.
It was really funny. It was boring at times, but it was funny, and the CGI effects are so amazing, and the music in the background is just so calming and happy.
So now I want to know, what did you guys think of Peter Rabbit? Did you like it? Did your kids like it? Tell me honestly, were you able to get into this film, and what exactly was it that did make you think, okay, you know what, this is actually kind of fun? Or again, what about it made you go, no, definitely can't get into this? Also let me know, are there any other movies or shows or trailers coming up that you want me to do a review of? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below, be sure to like and share, and if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes out, because I make new videos every week! Bye, Adorkable Buddies, I'll see you soon!